Time. The battle against time can be a difficult fight. Time has a way of deteriorating things. Time deteriorates people, places, things. People and objects become lost in time, and all but become a distant memory. But even memory can be lost to time. The Cataldo Mission, also known as the Old Mission, or the Mission of the Sacred Heart, has stood the test of time. The church located at the mission was built back in 1853, and it is the oldest standing building in Idaho State. In 1831, the Nez Perce and Flathead peoples expressed interest in Christianity. They garnered the attention of the Christian missionaries known as the Jesuits to the region and further west. A man known by the name of Father Pierre Jean Desmet traveled through the Idaho region and met with several Coeur d'Alene families that began traveling with him. As trust was built, these tribal members eventually invited Pierre to their tribe. A century earlier, the tribal leader known as Circle and Raven had predicted and prophesied that men in black robes would show up to their tribe and eventually help their tribe thrive. After Father Desmet had a chance to engage in discussion with the tribe, Desmet agreed to send black-robed missionaries to the region to create a tribal mission. The original version of the Sacred Heart was built on the St. Joe River in Idaho. However, due to extensive flooding, the church and the mission had to be relocated. The church was relocated to a knoll facing the Coeur d'Alene River. The project was taken over by Father Joseph Jesuit in 1845. Many of the converted natives became involved in the construction of the church, along with the educated priest Antonio Rivali, and he was in charge of designing the Mediterranean-inspired church. The building was designed without nails and involved fastening wooden beams with pegs, along with the application of grass, straw, and mud to the church walls. Development ran from 1850 all the way until 1853, when the church was complete. Father Rivali implemented his extensive education and creative abilities to decorate the building. The paneling for the ceiling was made out of old tin cans. Wooden columns were painted with huckleberry juice, animal blood, and other natural pigments, and this was designed to imitate stone veining. Due to a lack of paint, a similar approach was used to paint the walls of the church, with such things as berries being used as a substitute for paint. Once complete, the mission provided a communal garden, pastures, and livestock to feed the inhabitants. As time passed, tensions began to build between local native tribes and the U.S. military. The Coeur d'Alene tribe aligned with the Palouse, Spokane, and Yakima tribes to strategically challenge the United States Army. The mission became the site for peace treaty negotiations between the Coeur d'Alene tribe and Colonel George Wright, a man who would be involved in several battles between local Native American tribes. Fort George Wright was eventually named after him and is now a historical site located at Spokane Falls Community College. The negotiations at the mission took place in an attempt to convince the Coeur d'Alene tribe to drop out of the war efforts. As the years passed, in 1863, President Lincoln signed a congressional act officially making the land of Idaho a U.S. territory. Father Joseph M. Cataldo was assigned to the mission, which at the time was known as the Mission of the Sacred Heart. The name was in reference to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. The mission is often referred to as the Cataldo Mission due to Father Cataldo's influence on the mission and his influence he had on the region through the Catholic Church. The town of Cataldo, Idaho was named after him, and he eventually went on to found the Catholic University Gonzaga University, which is famous for their basketball team, the Bulldogs. Adjacent to the mission was the Personage House, which unfortunately burned down in 1864. However, the parish house, which is still standing to this day, was built in 1887 and was constructed using a Gothic style, in contrast with the church's Greek style. The parish house was used for Catholic priests and brothers of the Society of Jesus, also known as the Jesuits, or Black Robes by the Native Americans. The parish house became a training ground for young men who had the intentions of devoting their life to God. Influence of the mission on the region began to slip away, and the ability for the mission to engage as a mediator between the natives and the United States government disappeared over time. The Jesuits eventually passed on the mission to the Catholic Diocese in Boise in 1924. At this point, the mission was deteriorating and was not receiving proper maintenance. Over the next several decades, renovations took place at the mission, and by 1962, the old mission became a national monument. The mission is now a state park in the possession of Idaho State and is accessible by public access by paying a $5 entrance fee. The Cataldo Mission, or the Old Mission, or the Mission of the Sacred Heart, was once a great influence on the region. However, it still has a powerful impact on those who attend it every year. You guys, you're watching Adventuring with Braden. If you want to learn more about the Pacific Northwest, go ahead and check out my other content. Have a great day.